Yeah, hey guys, this is Mark Shay. You're watching Exploring Music, Tips for a Better Performance, and today we're going to talk about the old saying, you're only as good as your last performance. Check it out! I am who I am, why can't you see? Yeah guys, well, it's another episode of Tips for a Better Performance. And as the saying goes, you're only as good as your last performance. Never a truer saying. But before we start off, I just do want to say, you know the drill. If you haven't already, subscribe, hit the notification bell, like, comment, tell me what you think of these videos, and tell me if you disagree. And you know, share them with your friends. If you think this is great tips, share them. Let's get back stuck into it. Never a truer saying. You're only as good as your last performance. And as I've talked about making mistakes, it's like, even if things go disastrous, tomorrow's a new day. Everybody that has been doing this a while will tell you. There's gonna be days where you suck. There is. But yeah, so there's gonna be those days where just everything goes wrong and the performance is just, oh. You know, you just want to get off the stage 3 songs in because everything's just going, you know. But yeah, there's going to be days where you just suck, and that's life. Deal with it. You got to deal with it. And anybody telling you otherwise is either a liar or they're deluding themselves. You know, because perfection is a myth. It is so. It's like this saying is so true. And what it's really saying is, don't get too comfortable. Don't get complacent. Work at your craft. You're always going to be working at your craft. If you want to get better and you want to minimize mistakes and the disaster gigs, you're always working on your craft. And so that's what this saying. You know, you're only as good as your last performance. So just because you were a god or a goddess on stage last night does not mean you're going to be a god or a goddess on stage tonight, or that the crowd is going to love you. It just doesn't work that way. So how do we fix this problem, I hear you ask? Well, it's really simple. After each performance, debrief yourself. Whether it's the same night, which it doesn't always work out or you feel like you're doing it, but at least the next day. Realistically and critically, go over your performance. See what went wrong, see what went right, see what needs improving. You know, because remember, this is always improving. You're always developing your craft, trying to better it. As much as perfection is a myth, it doesn't hurt to strive for it, does it? So always be going for that perfect show, even though you know it's a myth and it's a fallacy, because you're never going to be perfect. That's just a fact. Even if your last night's show was a killer, if it seems like nothing went wrong, it was as perfect as it's ever going to get. Debrief it. Work out what was so good about it. Because it doesn't mean that it's going to happen the next night. Because you got different crowds. You got different rooms. You know, the sound in different rooms. You got different PAs give you different sounds. You got room temperature can even affect sound or the instruments. So there's all these different factors that always change. So there's all these things that could go wrong, all these things that could go right. And your job is to work out, okay, what goes right and what goes wrong. But also, crowds change. Your audience changes. So just because you did something that everybody there loved last night, doesn't mean the next lot of audience that you have is going to feel the same way. So it's an always evolving thing. And what you'll find is things that work more often than not, and those are the things you develop, and the ones that don't work, obviously you lose them. But then sometimes something that'll work with a selective crowd, you can bring out every now and again if you can judge that it's the right crowd for it. So yeah, don't rely just because you had a great night last night. Ain't gonna mean you got a great night this night. Music is always evolving, just like your fans are. So you always got to allow your shows to evolve. Like, if in 5 years' time, if you're playing the same show that you're playing today, your crowds aren't going to get bigger, they're going to get smaller. Because if you're constantly doing the same show every single night, throughout time, people have seen it. There's a reason why each time an artist tours, the shows get more extravagant. They get bigger. Because, they have to keep improving, try and find ways to entertain the crowd, especially those that are coming back for a next time. You can't just put on the same show and just throw in a couple new songs from the new album. There are people that do that. It doesn't quite kind of work, and fans get bored. It's like, well, hang on, I've just seen this show. And that's the whole thing. You got to keep not chopping and changing it too drastically, but you got to let it evolve. So what you're playing today isn't, you might have a lot of the good stuff from today in 5 years, but it's going to have a lot of the crap taken out of it. There's going to be evolvement and new songs and all that. So there might only be like your hits, that people love to hear you sing in that show, but you've got a new repertoire or evolving one. So you really have to do that. Now for pubs, gigs and all that, okay, you don't have to go too drastic, but if you've got a wide repertoire and you're chopping and changing songs so that you're never doing the exact same set night after night, then it isn't going to bug you, and you're going to keep people interested to keep coming back to your venues. So, but if you played the exact same set every single show, well, after 4 or 5 shows, it don't matter how good they think you sing. It's like, well, we've seen it. Yeah, we've seen it. So let's go see something different tonight. You got to work out what you want to do, and you got to let things evolve. And you also have to develop what works, what doesn't. And the only way you can do that is by critically and realistically looking at what goes right, what goes wrong, and how do you improve it. Because at the end of the day, you're only as good as your last performance. And I can guarantee you, your next performance might be spectacular, it might suck. And it could be things that are beyond your control. And that's where you got to debrief it, work out what to do. And the way to do that is to keep improving, keep evolving, and always strive to be better than your last performance. Yeah guys, I'm Mark Shay, this is Exploring Music. Hope you've enjoyed that tip for a better performance. See ya! This episode of Exploring Music is brought to you by Lag Guitars and Conceptual Creative. Check them out today. Hit the like button and comment and tell me what you think of this video. And don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any future videos.